you are a meat robot. No, seriously. Controlled by electricity. Running on sugar. Held together by wet rope. And somehow, you've been piloting this thing your whole life without reading the manual. Well, today we're reading the manual. All of it. In 18 minutes. Because you deserve to understand the absolute engineering miracle / catastrophic design disaster that is the human body. Buckle up. Or don't. Your seatbelt is made of collagen anyway, and we'll get to that. Let's start at the bottom. Literally. The skeleton. You probably think of bones as the dry, white sticks you see in a Halloween decoration. That image is so wrong, it's almost offensive. Living bone is wet. It's alive. It has blood vessels running through it. It's constantly being broken down and rebuilt. Right now, as you watch this, your bones are eating themselves and rebuilding from scratch. This process is called bone remodeling, and your body does it completely on autopilot, 24 hours a day, every single day of your life. You've replaced most of your skeleton multiple times over. The bones you have today are not the bones you were born with. Okay, but here's the part that actually breaks my brain. Wah! Bone, pound for pound, is stronger than reinforced concrete. Not almost as strong. Stronger. A cubic inch of bone can withstand loads of up to 19,000 pounds before it fractures. Concrete fails at around 7,000. The stuff your skeleton is made of beats the stuff they build bridges with. You are walking around in a biological superstructure that took millions of years of evolution to engineer, and you stub it against the corner of a nightstand at 1 kilometer per hour, and the universe goes silent. Why does that hurt so much, by the way? And? Because your little toe, the pinky toe, is packed with pain receptors. It's one of the most nerve-dense areas of your entire foot. Evolution spent millions of years making sure you would feel every single millimeter of that impact in full 4K surround sound. Thanks, evolution. Really appreciated. 5 stars. Would not recommend. Now, 206 bones. That's the adult count. But here's a question. If you're so strong, why do you have gaps? Why does your skull have seams? N? Why isn't your skeleton just one solid piece? N. Because rigid equals brittle. Your skull is not one bone. It's 8 separate plates connected by fibrous joints called sutures. In babies, these plates aren't even fused yet. That's what the soft spot on a baby's head is. This is not a design flaw. This is engineering genius. Those plates can compress slightly during birth, passing through the birth canal and then expand back out. Your head literally deformed to get you here. You're welcome. So, we've got the frame. The wet, electric, self-repairing, concrete beating frame. But a frame doesn't move on its own. Enter muscles. You have over 600 of them. They account for roughly 40% of your body weight. And here's the thing about muscles that nobody ever tells you in school: muscles can only pull. That's it. They cannot push. Every single movement your body makes, throwing a punch, typing a text, raising an eyebrow at someone's terrible take, is the result of muscles pulling on bones like ropes. Your bicep doesn't push your forearm up. It pulls it. Your tricep doesn't push it down. It pulls it the other way. You are a biological puppet show, and the strings are made of protein. The protein in question is called actin and myosin. These are molecular motors, tiny protein filaments that grab onto each other, pull, release, grab again, thousands of times per second. When you flex your arm, what's actually happening is billions of these microscopic motors firing in synchronized waves. Your bicep isn't a single unit contracting. It's a coordinated riot of 100 million nanoscale machines all pulling in the same direction at the same time. The fact that this results in anything smooth and controlled is, frankly, astonishing. But wait. If muscles can only pull, how do you push a door open? Think about it. Your arm extends. Something has to be pulling for that to happen. And here's the answer, which is also the reason your body is built the way it is. Every muscle has an antagonist. A muscle on the opposite side doing the opposite job. Bicep and tricep. Hamstring and quad. For every pull, there is an equal and opposite pull. Your body is in a constant, invisible tug-of-war with itself just to hold you upright. You are, structurally speaking, a controlled argument. And if you think that's wild, just wait until we get to the part where your heart does this same trick 60 to 100 times a minute. Every minute. Without stopping. For your entire life. The heart. Let's talk about the heart. It's a pump. That's it. That's the whole job description. 4 chambers, 4 valves, 1 purpose. Keep the fluid moving. But here's what makes it genuinely insane. The heart generates enough pressure over a lifetime to squirt blood a distance of about 30 feet. Wah! In one lifetime, it beats approximately 3 billion times. Not million. Billion. With a B. And it never takes a day off. It doesn't get tired. Doesn't ask for a vacation. It just goes. 60 to 100 beats per minute for 80 years without you thinking about it once. So how does it not wear out? Here's the plot twist. Heart muscle, called cardiac muscle, is a completely different type of tissue from the skeletal muscle we just talked about. Skeletal muscle gets tired. You feel that. Your legs burn when you sprint. But cardiac muscle has evolved to be fatigue resistant. It has more mitochondria per cell than almost any other tissue in your body. Mitochondria, yes, the powerhouse of the cell, yes, that meme, it's earned, are the organelles that produce ATP, which is basically the universal energy currency of life. Your heart runs on an economy so efficient it would make any engineer cry happy tears. Now here's where things get properly weird. The heart is electrically self-starting. It generates its own heartbeat. There's a cluster of cells called the sinoatrial node, the SA node, sitting in the right atrium, and this thing is your body's natural pacemaker. It spontaneously generates an electrical signal about once a second. That signal travels across the heart muscle in a precise, choreographed wave. First, the top 2 chambers contract, pushing blood down. Then a tiny delay, a fraction of a second, and the bottom 2 chambers fire, pushing blood out to the body and the lungs. If you removed a heart from a body and kept the cells alive, it would keep beating on its own. The rhythm is built in. You don't think your heart into beating. It just wants to. And what it's pumping is more interesting than you think. Blood is not just a red liquid. It's a tissue. An actual biological tissue that happens to be liquid. It contains red blood cells carrying oxygen, white blood cells hunting pathogens like a microscopic army, platelets that rush to wounds and form clots, and plasma, the yellowish liquid everything floats in, which is carrying nutrients, hormones, waste products, proteins, and basically acting as the body's internal postal service. Wah! 1 drop of blood the size of a pinhead contains 5 million red blood cells. 5 million. In a pinhead. Okay. Stop. This is the moment. You have about 5 liters of blood in your body. All of it circulates through your entire system in about 60 seconds. Wah! Your heart pumps it through 60,000 miles of blood vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries. 60,000 miles. The circumference of the Earth is about 24,900 miles. So the plumbing inside your body, if you laid it end to end, would wrap around the planet more than twice. Twice. And it fits inside you. That's not a metaphor. That's not an approximation for dramatic effect. That's the actual number. You contain more than 2 Earth circumferences worth of piping, all of it invisible, all of it working perfectly in a space about the size of you. Let that sit for a second. Now let's talk about where this system fails. Because evolution is not a careful engineer. Evolution is a drunk handyman who keeps patching over old mistakes with whatever's lying around, and nowhere is this more obvious than the human knee. The knee is a hinge joint with ambitions. It bends in one direction. That's it. But it's also asked to bear the full weight of your body, absorb impact from running and jumping, rotate slightly, and do all of this while attached to the most powerful muscles in your body, pulling on it from multiple angles. The meniscus, the cartilage cushion inside the knee, has almost no blood supply. Cartilage in general is one of the only tissues in your body that can't repair itself effectively, because repair requires blood flow, and cartilage didn't get the memo. Tear your meniscus, and your body basically shrugs and goes, "Yeah, that's not really my department." You can damage bone, and it will heal itself. Cartilage? You're going to need a surgeon. Why did evolution build it this way? Because the human knee was never designed for upright walking. We are primates who started standing up relatively recently in evolutionary terms, like 5 minutes ago. The knee we have is a modified version of a quadruped's knee, jury-rigged into a load-bearing upright joint by a few million years of adaptation that was, and I cannot stress this enough, deeply rushed. You are experiencing the consequences of a prototype that never got to version 2.0. And every runner who's ever blown out a knee is living proof. But here's the thing about evolutionary bugs, and this connects back to something important: they only stick around if the damage happens after reproductive age. Evolution doesn't care if your knee gives out at 45. You've already had kids. The gene pool has been updated. Your knee pain is, from evolution's perspective, not its problem. Which brings us to the most famous vestigial bug in the human body: the appendix. The appendix is a small finger-shaped pouch hanging off the beginning of your large intestine with no confirmed essential function in modern humans. It can become infected and inflamed, a condition called appendicitis, and if it ruptures, it can kill you. It's a ticking biological time bomb that roughly 1 in 15 people will experience going off, sitting quietly in your lower right abdomen right now, doing approximately nothing, just waiting. Incredible design. Truly. No notes. Or, and here's the twist, maybe we've been wrong about the appendix. There's a theory gaining traction that it acts as a bacterial reservoir, a backup supply of beneficial gut bacteria that your body can use to repopulate the gut after a severe infection, like a tiny biological safe house for microbiome refugees. So it's not useless. It might just have been demoted from its original job. Kind of like how you still have a tailbone because your ancestors had a tail, except the appendix at least might still be doing something. The tailbone is just there, judging you. The digestive system it's attached to, though? That one is genuinely brilliant. 25 to 30 feet of tubing coiled impossibly into your torso, lined with specialized cells for every job, absorbing fats, absorbing sugars, absorbing proteins, recycling water. Wah! The small intestine alone has a surface area of roughly 2,700 square feet when you unfold all the tiny finger-like projections called villi and microvilli coating its walls. 2,700 square feet. The average American apartment is 900 square feet. Your small intestine has 3 times more surface area than the place you live in. Folded into about 20 feet of tube, hidden inside you. And what about the brain? Here's the wild crossover moment. The gut has its own nervous system, the enteric nervous system, with around 100 million neurons. That's more nerve cells than your spinal cord has. Scientists sometimes call it the second brain. It can operate independently of your actual brain. It makes decisions. It communicates with your brain via the vagus nerve, and this is the part that flips people's assumptions completely. About 90% of the signals on that nerve travel from the gut up to the brain, not the other way around. Your gut is mostly talking to your brain. Your brain is mostly listening. So when you have a gut feeling, that is literally a neurological event. You have a second brain in your abdomen, and it has opinions. Now, zoom out. Look at the whole system. You've got a structural framework of living, self-repairing mineral that beats concrete. You've got 600 rope-like motors waging constant coordinated war against each other to produce smooth motion. You've got a 4-chambered pump that runs 3 billion cycles without service, pushing 5 liters of living tissue through 60,000 miles of tubing. You've got a gut that covers the square footage of a 3-bedroom apartment and runs a semi-autonomous brain of its own. And all of this is wrapped in your skin, the largest organ in your body, 2 square meters of waterproof, self-healing, temperature-regulating, sensory interface that is replaced entirely every 2 to 4 weeks. You are not inside your body. You are your body. And your body is not a vehicle. It's a civilization. A 37 trillion cell civilization where every single cell has a job, knows its job, and does its job without ever once being told to. The liver is out here running 500 different chemical reactions simultaneously. The immune system is constantly cataloging every molecule it encounters, building a library of threats that it will remember for decades. Your DNA, the instruction manual for this entire operation, is 6 feet long and crammed into the nucleus of almost every single cell you have. You have about 37 trillion cells. That's 37 trillion copies of a 6-foot document. Wow. If you stretched out just the DNA from one human body, it would reach from Earth to Pluto and back 17 times. So, we started with a meat robot. We end with this. The human body is the most complex structure we have ever found anywhere in the known universe. More moving parts than any machine we have ever built. More efficient than any computer we have ever designed. More adaptive than any material we have ever engineered. And yet, we still don't fully understand it. We don't know why we need to sleep. Not really. We have theories. We don't know why consciousness emerges from neurons. We don't know how memory is physically stored. We don't know why cells become cancerous in some environments and not others. We've mapped the entire human genome, and we still can't predict how most of it behaves. Here's the question we can't answer yet. If every cell in your body is replaced over time, and most of them are, then in what sense are you the same person you were 10 years ago? And is continuity physical? Is it in the pattern? Is it somewhere in the electricity? What exactly are you inside the machine? Nobody knows. Go text your friend.